Are you too busy to even think? Are you exhausted by way too many decisions? Are you at the point where you just want to hide under the covers with Netflix and a bottle of wine? Today, my friends, we are talking about overwhelm. So here's the thing. Overwhelm is not some mysterious force that you have to endure. It's actually your body's natural response to perceived threats. And once you understand this system, you can take practical steps to shift your state and get back into action. So let's dive in. I'm going to show you 2 hacks you can do right now to calm your nervous system and get back into a functioning state. But that's not all. I'm also going to take you through a very simple process to take that calm, sustain that calm, and translate it into action. So stay tuned, get ready to get your calm back on. And if you're interested in learning more ways to take charge of your mind and your life, hit that subscribe button or that follow button wherever you're watching me, and let's get going. I'm J-Love, and I'm all about helping people like you live a life that inspires you and makes you want to leap out of bed in the morning like you did when you were little. And today, I'm talking about one of the common ways our minds can sabotage our success. So, what is overwhelm? It's actually a survival mechanism that has evolved to protect us from danger. It involves the activation of your sympathetic nervous system, which you probably already heard talked about as fight, flight, or freeze. Now, when this part of your system's activated, it shifts you out of your naturally calm, creative, and generative state and into survival mode. Now, in this state, it becomes difficult to think clearly, to make decisions. It affects your mood, your ability to connect with people, and unfortunately, to get the very things done that are probably causing that overwhelm in the first place, leading to more overwhelm, more anxiety, and taking you down a fear spiral. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed, know that it's a natural response to perceived danger and you're not alone. Now, you might be thinking, hey, okay, but there's like literally nothing going on that's actually dangerous. But the thing about your unconscious mind, and that's the part of your mind that runs your body, controls your nervous system, and tells you how to respond no matter how much you consciously know you're safe. If you're feeling overwhelmed, your mind actually doesn't believe it. So, what's causing this feeling of imminent danger? Well, most often it comes down to fear of failure, like when there's too much on our list or we don't know how to do the things that are on it. And if you're anything like me, you might also be having this nagging feeling that there's something you're forgetting, and sooner or later, that other shoe is gonna drop. If any of this sounds familiar, go ahead and drop me a comment with the word boom, and let's get on to how to break that state and get you back into productivity and flow. So, the first step is to turn off your sympathetic nervous system and turn on your parasympathetic nervous system. So, the sympathetic nervous system triggers our fight, flight, freeze response. And when we're in a state of overwhelm or stress, this system gets activated and our attention tends to become narrow and focused. On the other hand, when we stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's naturally calming and healing system, it promotes relaxation, recovery, and it can boost your energy, your focus, your clarity, your decision making, your motivation, and ultimately your ability to be productive instead of reactive. So, one way to do this is by shifting to peripheral vision. That's expanding our visual field and taking in a wider range of sensory information. So, I'm in a demo practice called Hakalau, which comes from a Hawaiian meditative and spiritual practice. Now, I grew up in Hawaii, but it was only a few years ago that my business partner and life partner, Ryan, introduced this to me, and we've been using it with our clients ever since. So, if you have kids or a partner or anybody close to you, it's also a great way to shift into a state of openness and receptivity when you're with them. So let's learn Hakalau, which means to gaze in a relaxed way. And this is how you do it. The first thing you want to do is you want to fix your eyes on a point about 45 degrees above where you're looking, like straight ahead. So about up here. And you should feel kind of like a little bit of a tension in your eyes. So just enough to be uncomfortable. Don't strain yourself, please. Okay, get it up there a little bit. And now what you want to do is you want to take your hands, you want to put them in front of your eyes, and you want to start moving them wider and wide. I'm going to back up so you can see. Now, you're not going to be able to see my arms, but go as wide as you can, keeping those hands still in your peripheral vision. And now what you're going to do when they're at the very edges, you're going to bring them down. And now you're in that state. Things are a little defocused, maybe a little fuzzy, but keeping that state tells your nervous system there's nothing to be afraid of and you can calm down. The next technique I'm going to show you is great for those times when you can't easily do Hakalau, like when you're driving and you actually need to see what's in front of you. So this is a really quick way to shift into a state of calm, shut out the mind chatter, and just be present in the moment. And it's called sensory awareness. And all that means is just focusing on one of your senses for about 10 seconds or more. And the easiest of all is touch. So you can do that with me now. Just pick anything that's easy for you to touch. I'm going to pick my sleeve because that's what's close to me, but you can do your computer or the table or even a chair. And just notice how the texture feels against your skin. And if you're driving, what you can do is you can just lightly move your hands up and down the steering wheel and notice the sensation against your hands. You just notice the heat, the texture, and the density. And notice how your system, again, just calms right down. So now that you're in a state of functional calm, it's time to get you back in action so you can sustain that calm. Now, the most important thing that you can do right now is take action on the thing that scares you the most. So our minds have lots of outdated and unproductive ways of coping with stress, like, yelling at our kids or micromanaging how somebody else does something. But unhelpful as those coping strategies may be, nothing is scarier to the mind than no strategy at all. So it's this no strategy fear that's often behind the panic and overwhelm. Okay, pop quiz. How many items can most people hold in their working memory at any given moment? The answer is between 5 and 9 things. So if you're one of those people who keeps most things in your head, think again, because most of us have a lot more than 9 things on our list, right? So that leaves all those other items beyond the 9 in the land of the unknown. And that keeps your mind stressing, worrying, and spinning. So whether you have loads to do or a task that you're dreading or an impossible feeling decision, the worst thing you can possibly do is keep it in your head. Your mind needs to know what to expect and that you have the tools to handle it. So it's a simple 2-step process. The first is you've got to get it out of your head and onto paper. So whether it's a to-do list or pros and cons list, or if-then strategies, or even just a mind map, a brain dump, getting it all down on paper will first of all make the unknown known. The next thing that you need to do is take action. And again, the most effective thing to take action on is that thing that you're dreading or you're most afraid of. So maybe it's sending an email, and it can just be one little step towards that. So maybe it's sending an email, setting up a time to talk with someone, or writing that first paragraph. The key is action. So once your deep mind believes that you know what needs to be done and you've got it, you're on the path, it can just settle back down and it can get back to much more productive things like, oh, I don't know, fighting off colds or noticing all of the amazing things that are already around you and in your life. Now, if you have a crazy, overwhelming to do list full of things that drain you, check out my Busy to Balance Masterclass, where you'll get hours of your time back and you'll start to get underneath those unconscious triggers, those unproductive strategies, and those outsized emotional reactions. If you liked this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And if you want more wisdom and tips and tactics to unlock your potential and love your life, follow me here and join my mailing list to get more delivered right in your inbox.